Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or the press, or the right of people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Hey, y'all. It's Mamaw. I hope you're all having a good morning because it's snowing like crazy out here right now. But I'm not going to complain because I know y'all on the East Coast have got it a whole lot worse than we do. So this is my morning conniption. I've just got a few things written down. I'll wait for a few more of you to jump on. Make sure you know that I'm alive and well. I know a lot of you had to sit home today. There we go. We got a couple coming on. So good morning, Margaret Murphy. How are you this morning? See if we get some more people on. Everybody must be snowed in. Here we go. Good morning, Sandy. How are you this morning? See if we get any more on here. Got 13. There we go. Margaret, I'm glad you're doing well. Good morning, Mary from Linden, Washington. Man, you're up early. Hello, Laura. How are you? How are things up north? I have my special editor sitting beside me this morning, Papa. He does all my research for me and makes sure I get it right. Jackie, how are you? What are you doing in Cincinnati? Yes, I didn't see you, but now I'm going to tell everybody right now before I forget, because I forget everything. Tomorrow night for Taco Tuesday, have your favorite libation next to you, and we're just going to have us a good old sit down and a cackle while Taco McCankles is trying to do the State of the Union. We're not going to pay attention to that. So pull up your favorite brew. There we go. Now everybody's starting to get on. Detroit, Michigan. Carolyn, are you getting this snow too? Yes, snowed and cold. Metro Detroit. Let's see what we got here. Abby in Wisconsin. Good deal. We've got North Carolina in. Oh, class reunion. I see. Okay, that makes sense. Carolyn. She said, thank you, Papa. Yes, he is the best editor. I'll do something and I either get a this or a this, and then man, does he research for me. New Brunswick, Canada in the house. And you haven't gotten the snow yet? Well, let me tell you, we weren't supposed to get much snow and we're getting a lot of it. So much, now that Sharpies are how we get our weather instead of the National Weather Service. What can you say? And then, okay. Well, let me see if we get any more on. Hey, Sue from North Carolina. Okay. Anybody else coming on? I'm going to get started. Okay, here we go. So it seems, let me get Sue off there, that the Mexican cartel's El Mencho was killed in an explosion raid yesterday in Jalisco, Mexico, and they're warning all Americans to take cover, which is unusual, except there are a lot of tourists down there this time of year. So that's not a good thing. And I'm suspicious as to why they specifically are telling tourists to take shelter. So something must be really up, or maybe the U.S. helped that out. So I don't know. Something funny, although we don't know if it was truly him or not. If you all remember, there was a big running joke about how Taco used to call in to TV shows and say that he was Donald Trump's advertiser or his guy or his analyst or administrative assistant. He had a number of things. And he went by the name of John Barron, his middle name and his son's name. And it was a running joke for years. Everybody knew it was really Donald Trump. Well, he was ranting so much about the Supreme Court's ruling that he called C-SPAN and said his name was John Barron from Virginia. And the woman on C-SPAN, it was all she could do to keep herself from cracking up. He went on his little rant about what a great injustice the Supreme Court was doing to the American people and all. And she said, "Thank you for calling in," and went to the next caller. Now, whether that was someone spoofing him or not, we can't say, but it sounded to me like it was Donald Trump trying to mask his voice and not doing a very good job of it. Taco's disapproval of the handling of the economy and immigration is in the mid 60%. And now he still says he's going to put a 15% tariff on everybody. So not only is everyone in this country, well more than half, upset with the way he's handling the economy and immigration, he's having his little toddler tantrum about what's going on. So he's still going to put on a 15% tariff until somebody smacks his little fingers back again. But what this does is next week he's supposed to meet in China with Xi Jinping. We have no leverage anymore. We have no clout. Europe has already put a hold on our trade agreement that we had just made with them. They've also decided they're going to do all of their defense systems amongst themselves or buy them elsewhere, not from the U.S. So that's going to put a lot of people out of work. And we've just cut ourselves out of NATO. So he has no clout. He has nothing going into these negotiations, and he's supposed to be such a great negotiator. Of course, he got his name Taco because he always chickens out. But now in his little toddler tantrum, he still put a 15% tariff on everything. I don't know what we're going to do. Congress better do something. If it means getting rid of little Mikey Johnson so that we can take over and Congress needs to start doing their job, that's what we need to do. When we get more on the Board of Peace, I discussed it yesterday, what that was. And we all know what NATO is, and we all know what the United Nations was for. So why we need a Board of Peace was just nothing more than to stick a pacifier in that man's mouth. France, Germany, the United Kingdom, Canada, Italy, Spain, Norway, Sweden, China, Russia, and the Vatican have all said, no, we're not joining your Board of Peace. So it goes to wonder, what's the Board of Peace for? Who's managing this $1 billion buy-in for the countries that did decide to buy in? And where's Taco getting that $10 billion he announced that the U.S. was going to kick in? All this money that he's throwing around, like the money from the oil tankers, this $10 billion for the Board of Peace, this money that he's throwing at ICE that they're not supposed to have. I hope you all realize that's our Medicaid, that's our health care, that's our SNAP benefits, that's our children lunch programs, that's our WIC programs. That's a lot of things that we could have that Congress and their big bullshit bill cut back to appease this man baby. And he's spending it just like an old drunken sailor on a payday Friday on leave. Now, there's just no other way to put it. I want you all to realize that he has given ICE a bigger budget than the Marine Corps has. Let that sink in. So we just don't have any more jobs, but he's got his Board of Peace. On tariff refunds, we have a bunch of states now, J.B. Pritzker, Kentucky, several, California, they're all filing to get tariff money back. And of course, Costco and the original companies that filed the lawsuit that they won in the Supreme Court are filing to get refunds. But it's leaving us, the consumer, out. Well, we're the ones who actually paid for those tariffs. So what I did, if you go to my page, you're going to see a letter that Sassy wrote. You can copy it. If you have the capability just to print it off and put your senator's name. But what we'd like you to do is mail these letters in. Let's flood their offices with a bunch of mail they got to go through. And it's simply asking them, okay, it cost my family $1,000 in these tariffs. Where's our tariff money? Remember, we were supposed to get these tariff refund checks, and now Scott Bessent says we're not. So if you would, go look on my Facebook page. You'll see that letter and take care of it. And don't forget to use your 5 Calls app. Not only can you make your phone calls, but that will give you the address that you need to mail those in, and it gives you all the phone numbers you need. So make sure you take that. And wait a minute, Cindy says you want your coffee money back. No kidding. Coffee. How much coffee go up? Almost double?
About 20%.
Papa said coffee went up 20%. He buys our coffee, and we would have to buy cheaper coffee, and that's ridiculous. Carolyn says he needs to be left alone in a grocery store. Well, remember now, Carolyn, he said not 4 months ago that he'd heard of a new word. He had a new word. It was called groceries, because he'd never heard the word groceries before. So it just might be a shock for him just to see. Remember when George Bush Sr. had never been through a grocery checkout before, and they made a big kerfuffle about it? So yeah, that's kind of how that's going. Anyway, so if you would get that letter out, and let's flood their offices with paper. Then let's see where we go. Now, this is the big one. This is the one Papa definitely wanted me to discuss this morning. Over 2,000 dump trucks from the demolition of the East Wing are now on the East Potomac Park Links, the golf course, the National Golf Course. Now, Taco says they dumped that there because they're going to build the mounds and cover them over and all that stuff and redo the golf course. Here's the problem, because Papa used to be a senior safety engineer. I used to be in environmental safety and health. That stuff is full of asbestos. It's full of lead paint. It has other toxins in there because we don't know what the wiring is. It has heavy metals in there, and you're going to put that in the ground. And even if you're going to cover it up on the top, it's going to leach through the soil. Oh, for the love of God, who thought this brilliant scheme out? And the reason they had to dump it somewhere is that no commercial dump will take that material, because it's hazardous. It would have to be, when you get rid of asbestos, it has to go into a special container. It has to be sealed over in a red plastic thing, plainly marked, may contain asbestos, to take it to a landfill. You don't just go dump it. And yet he just dumped it on the ground. So while he's complaining that Wes Moore wasn't cleaning up that sewage dump into the Potomac River, which is nowhere near the state of Maryland, here's what he has done to that park. The National Golf Course public park has become a dump. And he can't bury that stuff. It must be contained to follow any asbestos law and abatement. So that's an important thing to tell you all about. Oh, good morning from Louisville, Kentucky. Yes, Carolyn, it's full of toxic stuff. Epstein. This was another really scary one. Now, I got this off of the Midas Touch. They caught onto it last night. Those brothers are going through those file dumps. You know, you just got to kind of wade your way through. They said there's been a money manager was named that had Vladimir Putin as a customer, and that money manager was Jeffrey Epstein. That was one of the redactions. He gave information to Putin about Trump for years, even prior to him being a presidential candidate. Ivana Trump's father is now believed to have been a KGB agent when he was still in Czechoslovakia. And Ivana apparently kept feeding her dad information that went to Russia. And that's all in those Epstein records. So, as horrific, and I mean horrific, as all of the abuse that he did with these girls, it looks more and more like this child sex trafficking ring was a blackmail scheme that the Russians called a honeypot, correct? And what they would do is get classified information off of these world leaders and these billionaires. And then Epstein was getting it to Israel and Russia. Now, this sounds like something out of a Creighton spy novel. I thought, Lord, this can't be. But it turns out it is, and it's right there in the files, and the FBI knew it. They had record of it, and they sat on it. They just sat on it. I guess they thought it was too outrageous to check. And that's the other problem. So you have FBI office in New Mexico get complaints. You had FBI offices in Florida get complaints. You had the FBI office down in the Virgin Islands get complaints. You had an FBI office in New York get a complaint. You had complaints overseas, and nobody searched on a computer. I mean, databases, all you do is search a name. Nobody put all of that together until we all started screaming we wanted to see these records. I mean, he's had these fires everywhere, and nobody put all that together. And yes, Ivana is also buried on a golf course. And the reason he buried her on the golf course is so that he could write the golf course off, I kid you not, as a cemetery. And that's probably also where he buried a lot of Epstein material. That's just me saying. All right, that's all I have for this morning. Please like, follow, and share. We passed 99,000. I'd like to hit 100,000 in the next week, so I need some help. Tomorrow on Taco Tuesday, please join me with your favorite libation, and we're just going to sit and have a good old he-cack while the taco does the State of the Union. He's all about ratings. Let's give him no ratings because he'll see those ratings. He understands. Good morning, Gina from Ocala. So let's just get together on Tuesday night. We'll visit. And then after we're done, you can go on to watch your favorite TV show. And about 10 o'clock, depending on how windy and whiny the taco is, then you can turn on your favorite news channel and get the recap. We don't need to watch that fool. So let's boycott it. That's what we plan to do. And have your favorite wine, beer, or libation, and we'll have a good old time. It'll be too late for coffee. Let's see. Brenda made a comment here. This brings Putin Trump thing to full circle. Yes, it does. That is a full circle, and there's no disputing it. It's right there. That's part of the reason why Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was arrested. It appears that he was giving up UK state secrets that were going straight to Putin.
Cannon and Smith.
And who?
Cannon and Smith.
Yeah, and Cannon and Smith. So this, it's going to get really ugly. McGregor, Minnesota. Well, good morning to you, Peggy. And we got Lebanon Ahia in the house. Good, Barb. None of us are going to be watching. I won't give him the time of day. That's what he wants. So that's what I have for my morning conniption this morning. You all have a wonderful day and enjoy the snow if you're on the East Coast. Nobody enjoys the snow, I'm telling you. And I will see you tomorrow night for Taco Tuesday. Stay salty. Use your outside voice. Use your 5 Calls app. What else you going to do on a crappy weather day? And I love you. Bye-bye.